Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode number 150 of the Veterinary Marketing Podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Today, we're going to be talking all about YouTube. I think YouTube is a fantastic opportunity for every single veterinary practice out there. And I just said everyone. I don't typically make blanket statements like that, but I think that every veterinary practice could benefit from growing their YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about how to do it, how to approach it, some really helpful tips, tricks, tools like software that you can use to help figure out what to title your videos and how to rank them better and things like that. So it's going to be a great episode. Be sure to listen all the way through. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe in iTunes or Google Play. What are you doing if you're not subscribed? You got to make sure to get every single episode delivered into your iTunes or your Google Play or Spotify for that matter. I'm on Spotify too now, which is kind of cool. Spotify is pretty awesome. So be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you enjoy the podcast, if you could do me a huge favor, please leave me an honest review. I would appreciate it so much. The other thing that I want to mention before we get started here is that if you haven't done so already, you should be in the Facebook group, the Veterinary Marketing Nerds. The reason for that is there's tons of really smart people. You can ask questions, collaborate on things, get help. If you're in the group, be sure to comment any questions that you do have, and I appreciate you being in there. It's a great place to connect with everybody. The last thing that I want to mention is if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out my digital marketing planner. I made a 12-month digital marketing planner. It's a workbook that you can fill in to create a comprehensive plan that's very coherent. That's very cohesive. It lets you put together all the different aspects of your digital marketing. It lets you figure out what your offer should be, who you should be targeting with your marketing, and a bunch of other great tools. It also comes with a free training, and actually you don't have to buy the planner to get that free training. If you go to veterinarymarketingpodcast.com/planner, you can get access to that training, but obviously it's built to go along with the planner, so it's helpful. The planner is $20. It's on Amazon, and you can check it out there. All right, so let's jump into today's episode. So YouTube is it's actually the second largest search engine in the world. It's an interesting fact, and the only thing bigger than it is Google. So there's a few different things going on in YouTube. So you need to think about this before we start. And YouTube typically isn't geared well towards hyper-local businesses. Now that's kind of at odds with what I just said, where I was talking about every single veterinary practice should be using YouTube. And at the same time, it's not a super local friendly business platform. But I actually think that you can use YouTube to grow your business, and it's a great way to diversify your traffic sources, which I think is becoming increasingly more important as time goes on, especially with all the craziness going on Facebook. So I think that in general, every practice should be on YouTube. So let's talk about how people use YouTube. Typically, they use it for a few things. Number one is search engines. Search quality is amazing there. If you need to learn how to do anything, if you want to learn how to rebuild your vacuum, you can head on over to YouTube. If you want to look at reviews for purple mattresses, you can head on over to YouTube. So YouTube is fantastic for those reasons. You can find out anything there, and somebody has made a video that's a tutorial for you. So that being the case, it's great for search volume. Now, the problem with search volume is that it's not local, right? So nobody's searching what kind of foods should I not be feeding my dog in Thanksgiving in Lake Forest, California, right? You don't have any control over where those show up. So if you're going to be getting views, it's going to be worldwide views, right? If your videos are good enough to rank. And so that's definitely something that's important to consider, is that this is not a hyper-local channel. You're going to be targeting basically worldwide audiences. And so there is a great amount of volume of search terms and things, but you have to consider that when you're going for creating videos that are going to rank. So that being the case, you need to think about a few things. First, there's a few ways that people use YouTube. They're using YouTube as a search platform to find answers to the questions that they have, or they're using it as an entertainment platform. And that's pretty much the two uses that are there. It's not like Facebook where people are just trying to keep up with other people. They're not using the discovery features, and it's not an opportunity platform per se. YouTube is trying to make strides in making it a platform where people can be discovered, but honestly, that's not something that is going to work out for a veterinary practice. So if you're using it to grow an audience inside of YouTube, I think that you will not be successful unless you're committed to growing a national or international audience. And for most practices, that just isn't something that they're looking to do. Now, you can see people that are using it, like Cody Creelman, who's been on the podcast a bunch of times. He's using it to create content. He's attracting audiences that are not just in his town, but he's getting clients from his podcast. So it's not to say that it doesn't work. Just that takes a ton of work. If you ask him how much he's worked, it's been an insane amount of time that he's put into it. Obviously, there's return on that because he's been committed to growing it and he's really well suited for the format and things. But most practices don't have the resolve to get it to that point, and it takes years and years and years to build an audience like that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. So that's building it within YouTube, and there's a few ways that you can do that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I think the way that most practices should be doing this is that they should be taking the content that they're producing in other platforms, specifically like Facebook videos or videos that they plan on using on Facebook, and then driving people to the platform in YouTube. So taking the audience that you're developing in other channels and driving them to YouTube. And I think that that's important from a diversification standpoint. So if Facebook decided to ban you today, what would you do? It'd be hard to say, well, I don't, it's difficult. There's a lot of other things you can do, but having content that is helpful on other platforms is extremely helpful. So you're not starting from scratch and making sure that your audience is well diversified. So let's talk really quick though. Let's say that you do have a personal brand, or you have a brand where you want to grow your YouTube channel, and you're going to be posting videos and trying to rank them. So there are, again, two ways to do it. You can be targeting people who are using it for specifically entertainment purposes. In that case, you're trying to show up in suggested videos, right? So we're trying to piggyback off people that already have audiences. So like Vet Ranch, or, if you have some type of video that is similar to what you're making, it's good to show up in their suggested content because people that are watching their videos will probably like your videos, and that's one way to do it. And then we have the search terms, which can be very difficult to rank for. So I'll be giving you some software tools that are very helpful. They're free, that you can use to figure out what search volumes are and help you to figure out what strategy to take. So let's dive into search for YouTube. Now, YouTube is a search engine. It is very sophisticated how the algorithm works. It always changes. But right now I'm finding that there's a few things that are working pretty well in general to get your videos to rank. So if you're starting out from scratch and you don't have a YouTube channel, if you're targeting keywords that have typically between 1,000 and 2,000 searches per month, and then once typically those long tail keywords, and long tail means that it's a very specific phrase that is not like, if you wanted to try to rank for the word veterinarian, for example, it would be impossible for you to rank for veterinarian. But if somebody searched for what are the symptoms of intervertebral disc disease, or what are the symptoms of stomatitis, or what are, very specific phrases like that, maybe there's not as much search volume, but there's a lot less competition. So I've actually been creating daily marketing videos and tutorials on YouTube, and I haven't been making it specific for veterinary practices, but it is very helpful if you want to check that out. If you go to youtube.com, you can search, actually, if the best place would be to go to veterinarymarketingpodcast.com/YouTube, and I'll put a link there so that you can subscribe to that channel. But I create daily marketing tutorials there, and I've been testing a lot of these things that I'm telling you about so that I could give you some feedback on what's working and what's not. So I found a few things. Number one, you need to be targeting a specific set of keywords to be ranking for them. So once YouTube kind of gets an idea about what your channel's about and what people engage with your channel, it's easier to rank for words that are like that. So, for example, when I first started, it was difficult to rank for keywords related to Facebook, but I started producing Facebook videos about tutorials on how to create custom audiences and, all kinds of things related to that. And what ended up happening is now when I create a video related to Facebook, I have a higher chance of ranking for those videos. So there's a few things that I learned from this. Number one, consistency is important. You don't have to be posting every single day like I am, but it is helpful if you're able to post on a schedule. That way people expect videos from you, and your audience will grow on the channel. You probably watch some YouTubers that are creating content on a regular basis, and people that you want to consume their content, the more consistent they are, the better their audience responds in general. So creating content is important. You have to do it consistently, and my suggestion would be for the average veterinary practice to post something once a week, the same time every single week, so that their audience begins to understand when their videos will be up and when they can expect content. So I'm going to give you 2 tools now that you can use to help find keywords that are going to be possible for ranking. And it's interesting that it's been very interesting to see what are working and what's not working after today's day 68 of creating daily videos on YouTube, and seeing just sometimes things rank, sometimes they don't. But the more that you post, the more snowballing that you get on YouTube. The more that you show up, the more views you get. It's like the chicken and the egg thing. You need the audience there to get more views, but how do you get more views if you don't have an audience? It's kind of difficult, and that's why YouTube is such a hard puzzle to crack. So these 2 software tools, one is the vidIQ Internet Browser. It's for Chrome extension. It's a Chrome extension. And what it lets you do is target very specific keywords. It lets you see what you're ranking for on these keywords. It lets you do topic planners and all kinds of really cool tools. The other one is called TubeBuddy. And TubeBuddy is actually, there's a free version, but it doesn't come with much. But one of the tools that it does come with on the free version is the Keyword Explorer. And the Keyword Explorer lets you take the contextual data from your channel, so how many views you have, how many videos you upload, and your typical kind of video stats, and lets you figure out a weighted score on keywords. So that when you put in the topic or title of a video, it'll actually show you what the likelihood for you to rank for that video is. So it gives you a rating system from very bad to very good. And it's actually a really, really helpful free tool. So TubeBuddy.com is a great tool for that. So let's talk about a few elements that make a YouTube video. So first, you have the video content. When you're creating content on YouTube, YouTube favors longer form content. And that sounds weird, but the longer your videos are, the more view time you have. And view time per video is a very important indicator for the algorithm. It's very, very important that you're having longer view times. And that helps you to show up a lot more. So actually, it's interesting. I posted videos, and I see that when I post a video that's longer than like 15 minutes, for example, the view time average for my channel goes up, and it just is an interesting thing to note. So having longer videos is helpful. It's actually kind of opposite from Facebook, where you have like 60-second to 3-minute videos are kind of like the norm there. So make your content longer if possible. If not, just make it as long as it needs to be, because they give you also rankings for the percentage of viewed watched is what it seems like. So number one, you have the video. Make sure that the video is, you have every kind of quality on YouTube. You have people that are making content on cell phones all the way up to professional cinema level equipment and everything in between. So typically the content, it just needs to have good content inside of it. So either good story, needs to be entertaining, educational, or answer a very specific question. So that being said, make sure that your audio is good. Bad audio kills videos every single time. So make sure that your audio is as good as possible. And then video settings, try for 1080 if you can. Next, you have the title. And again, using TubeBuddy is a great tool for figuring out what titles to do. Trying to target videos where you can rank and have a weighted ranking that's going to be either good or better, which will be a score of 50 or better in TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer. That's helpful. And then inside of vidIQ, you're able to also target different topics, and you can find out if there's specifically very interesting topics that are coming up, or people that you can respond to, or videos that you can respond to. That helps you to get views as well. Next, we have the description, and the description is extremely important also. So the description needs to have keyword-heavy descriptions inside of it. It needs to be contextually relevant, and it needs to make sense. So if you just stuff the keyword in there 100 times, that doesn't help you. But if you're able to write a description that makes sense and gives context to what the video is, that's very, very important for getting ranking as well. I always like to have at least 300 characters or more inside of the description of the video. Very, very important that the description is not brief and needs to be long enough to tell what the video is about. The next component are tags, and they say YouTube has come out and said tags are not important, but I don't believe that. I don't know why they say that. If the tags are not important, then why do they have them? I think specifically tags are very helpful for showing and ranking in suggested videos, which YouTube has said lately that they're reducing the emphasis on suggested videos, but I still see suggested videos as a great opportunity to target people that are already engaging inside of the platform. TubeBuddy lets you see what tags other people have done, so there's a suggested tag tool in there, and the free version only gives you access to 3 tags per video, but it's helpful at least to see what the tags are. You can also see what you're ranking for tag-wise and keyword-wise when you put a keyword tag in there, and so it's just as helpful to see where you stand with the video. The next element that you have is called an end screen, and end screens are very important. When somebody gets to the end of the video, it lets them see either more videos or a specific video or playlist. It lets you link out to your website, and then it also lets you link to a subscription button where people can subscribe on your YouTube channel. This is very important to be using these because they are tools that help you to get additional views and additional subscribers. The click-through rate on the subscribe button is typically less than 1%, so even if you have really, really engaging videos, you're not going to get a huge volume, but you will get some, so don't miss that opportunity in there. The next thing that I think is extremely important is having the videos that I choose is the best for viewer video and then a subscribe link. And I think that that's important because the best for viewer video typically gets a high click-through rate, and so you're just able to get more views. If people go through your video, they watch it, and they see another one that they're going to be interested in, that's a very important algorithm signal for YouTube to be ranking that video and showing your video more in search. So be sure to use end screens, and it's a very simple setup to just apply those end screens. TubeBuddy and vidIQ has an end screen template application tool, so if you want to do this at scale, like if you already have a whole bunch of videos uploaded, you can use this tool to basically create end screens and apply them to all of your videos. The other element are called cards. And so if you've ever watched a video and you see a little eye in the top left-hand corner, that is called a card. And what cards do is it lets you show suggested videos, related videos, and other things that you can use to basically communicate with the audience. Don't put cards in the video initially. I typically like to see the content up for a little bit before I apply cards, just because I'm able to see what the average audience retention is. A card will take somebody from this video to another video, and so you're going to be basically funneling traffic away from your video. So it's important to see, okay, this is how long the average person is watching this. Before the average viewer kind of leaves the video anyways, I'm going to show them something else that they might be interested in. And I think that's a very important strategy to use inside of YouTube. So that's kind of a video in a nutshell. Now, you can again use YouTube to try to grow an audience, but that takes a tremendous amount of time. Now, I've committed to making daily marketing videos on my channel, and it is a grind. Let me tell you, you're hoping that things will go fast. It doesn't go fast, and that's okay. I think that the quality of traffic is totally worth the long-term pain that it takes to grow the channel. So that's one thing that I think I would just say up front. If you're going to build your YouTube channel for your practice, make it so that you understand this is going to be years in the making, and I would just say that. Now, I think, though, that if you have an audience, or you have an email list, or you have a Facebook page or an Instagram page, if you're funneling traffic to these different channels, it helps you to be diversified. So if you're able to, if you have an email list, you create a new video, you upload it on YouTube, and then you send out an email that says, so if you're able to send external traffic to your videos, it helps to signal YouTube that this is a valuable piece of content, and it allows you to get your videos ranked easier too. So again, it's kind of like a chicken and egg thing. What should you do? Should you focus on building the audience inside of YouTube? I think for most practices, it's no. But if you're able to send traffic there and you're able to get people to subscribe, then you're able to build a channel that has a really long tail as far as people will continue to search for these topics. It'll help you to get more exposure. YouTube and Google have all of the same marketing tools that Facebook has, in that you can build custom audiences based on people who've watched specific videos. You can target demographics on geolocation. And so it just is a great diversification tool to help keep you safe if something happened on Facebook. I like embedding YouTube videos in your blog posts. I think that that's a great use of your videos. I would rather embed the YouTube video than the Facebook video personally, because that way you're able to build the YouTube subscriber. I think that YouTube subscribers are extremely valuable in general, like the value of a YouTube subscriber versus the value of a Facebook like. I know that it's difficult to measure ROI on these kind of things, but for me, I think it's like a land grab right now, where you can still rank for videos organically on YouTube. And that being said, you should be trying to build an audience there. I think it's only getting harder as time goes on, because there's just so much more noise every single day. So if you can cut through that noise, provide value, provide content that's going to be valuable to your audience on YouTube, it's going to be just so valuable, and it'll really help to hedge against any kind of weirdness that happens with other ad platforms. So listen, if you have any questions, comments, or need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you, again, want to check out all of these different tools, what I'll probably do is make a video and put it into the Veterinary Marketing Nerds group, and I'll explain how I actually optimize videos, choose topics, and things like that, so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about here with YouTube. YouTube is a different beast, and it's difficult to make work out, so you got to be committed to it, but I think it's totally worth it. I love the grind of it, and it's a very interesting puzzle to be working on. So I hope that you like this episode. Be sure to subscribe in iTunes and Google Play, and if you can do me a huge favor, again, please leave me an honest review. Thanks so much for listening, and I said watching because I'm making lots of videos. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day. See you on the next episode.